Yes, we are.
All right, we are back again. This is episode 4 of the rules of Nerdquisition. I got it right. Angry? I got it right. Episode 4. Episode
Yay!
4.
Episode 4. We are on
Yes.
it.
And,
We are
and I'm
on it.
I'm dressing down today because we haven't gotten Angry his uniform yet. We'll do that here very soon.
I'm
And
still in
then
shame. I'm still in
that's a
shame.
That's okay. I'm just trying to find the right one. I'm not going to get you some cheap shirt that has like the badge sewn in. Mine has a pin-on button. You have to have the pin-on badge. All right. Only the best for my crew. Come on, this is a trans woman and a black man heading out into the great beyond. It's not safe, but we're going
That's
to look
true.
good. We're going to
Of
look good
course.
while we're doing it.
Of course. We got to be stylish. We got to be
Stylish,
stylish.
stylish.
Got to be. And
All right.
so,
So yeah, the second pilot aired
the second
third,
pilot, the
aired
second,
third.
the
Weirdly
second,
enough,
third-ish, the second, third pilot, but the third,
the
second pilot,
The third, second pilot. Yes.
it's
You know what they
either the
say?
second, third, or the third, second, whichever one you can wrap your brain around easier.
Well, you know what they say in Star Trek, IDIC, infinite diversity and infinite combinations.
Absolutely. And so we get our first look at whew, the uniforms there, which are like
Oh, wow.
sweater turtlenecks.
It's not the turtlenecks. They are
Like
awful. They are bad. They're bad.
they
They're really
are.
bad.
Like
They're
it,
really bad. I mean,
like I mean
I'll get,
they're good for like sleepwear. I mean, if you don't mind like almost feeling
I
like you're being choked.
I couldn't do that. And, I
But
mean, I'd
hey,
have to give consent first. I just don't think that sleeping in
just
turtleneck is
just
going to work out for me.
just a turtle that is not gonna work. It's not.
No, and I would be remiss if I didn't bring this up first because it seems like something we're going to be doing probably most episodes, especially with the original series.
Hmm.
Sally Kellerman in this episode played Dr. Elizabeth Denner. She passed away in
Right.
2022. So just like last week, we talked about how the actor who played Charlie passed away.
Yeah.
This
So
week it's Sally Kellerman. I mean, there's only 3 members of the original crew even left. And I
it's
mean,
like
gosh,
whew.
it's
So
crazy to
pretty
think
much
about that.
almost Enterprise rest in peace,
We're getting
except
there.
Except for Shatner
Shatner, Takei, and Walter Koenig. And Walter Koenig is
and
largely out of the limelight just because of, the death of his son
yeah.
several years back. I know he did
Mhm.
reprise, or not reprise the role, but in Picard, he was the voice of the Federation president, Anton Chekhov, which I think was either Chekhov's son or grandson.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's about the
And
only,
so
I haven't seen him do much since what was he in Babylon 5? Was
he
that the
was
show
in
that
Babylon 5, yeah.
That's what I thought. Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
a while since I've seen that one too. So
Did a couple guest spots in Babylon 5, yeah. And so he whew,
other than
so
that,
it's
yeah.
all
So
right.
so yeah, rest in peace. But this episode jumps right into the action. I mean, like boom, it's like you cut to the opening and they're rushing into the turbo lift and it's like red alert. And
So yeah, it's hey, action packed. We're going right into it.
it
Coming in
was
hot.
coming in hot. We're bringing in a new character, even though, like I said, Kirk and all that stuff had already been established in the last 2 episodes. But this one was supposed to be the second pilot. This was what would have
Yeah.
aired first. I don't know if they thought maybe it's too much. We're going to air it third. I don't know why they chose the man trap as the first Kirk episodes to seem kind of
Um, I
a
guess
weird
it
choice.
was the only thing I can think is that just at the time, TV stations and the shows, they would get stuff mixed up like that all the time. And so a lot of shows would be aired out of order.
Yeah.
And I think that's essentially what happened is that it got aired out of order. And so now we're here stuck in 2024. So it's the second, third pilot or the third, second pilot because the original pilot was, of course, Pike, and then that got scrapped, and then we had the Man Trap pilot, but supposed to be episode 2, but it was episode 1.
Yeah,
So
it
it
is what
is
it
what
is,
it
I guess.
is.
It is what it
And
is.
so it kind of it sets up how Spock got the promotion to be commander. Because as you see at the time, he was like communications, he a communications officer or
Now that I think about it, I can't remember what was he in the cage? Now I'm gonna have to like go back and look that up. I can't remember what I mean was I don't
hmm.
he wasn't the first officer because that was number one, which was weird because Pike was like, I don't want women on the bridge, but she's your number one.
Yeah. It's
What?
like, huh? It doesn't
Don't don't
the
you
math
approve your crew,
like
Captain,
the
sir?
like the as the kids say, the math ain't mathing on that one.
The math ain't mathing on that one, but hey, whatever.
And so we open up, coming in hot and
We're already at the edge of the galaxy.
already there.
We're at the edge of the
And then
galaxy. Well, we're responding to a distress call from the SS Valiant, lost in space 200 years before, and we're at the edge of the galaxy. And it's important to note that McCoy is not in this episode. So McCoy
no,
actually,
because
DeForest Kelly hadn't been hired yet, even though he was in The Man Trap and also Charlie X. But
right.
he's missing from
It's
this episode, and we have a different doctor,
it said
Doctor
some generic
Doctor Doctor
doctor.
Doctor Mark Piper is his name, and then introduces
I
Elizabeth Denner, who's the ship's psychiatrist, I guess. Okay,
I'll just call him Doctor Generic.
Doctor Generic,
Because
generic geriatric. That's what he was, because he was
essentially, yes, it introduced the ship psychologist, and she was interesting to say the least.
interesting. Yes, and it's interesting to point out that this episode really brings up something that was never really explored much again, other than like telepathic aliens, is that the ESP ratings of people. Like she has this,
Right.
they're called espers, um, and various humans have different ESP ratings. So she's got some kind of limited
So
extrasensory
kind of
perception.
limited, yeah. And sort of going into kind of detail as to what Starfleet has kind of delved into research on that and if they're continuing any research or anything like that on it. And to which they get hit with something, a whammy or something, and then everybody all of a sudden that has like psychic powers gets psychic powers.
Right, and that's exactly what the Valiant was researching, was uh, researching
Was
ESPE, and then all of a
yeah,
sudden the captain orders a self-destruct when they're reviewing the
yeah,
ship's records. Like, oh, we're just checking out some ESPN. Oh, by the way, set auto destruct sequence.
yeah. So it's like, hold up, that escalated quickly.
Code one, 1A, 2B, right?
And it's like,
Zero,
whoa,
zero,
hey.
zero, destruct zero. Yeah, it's like we're just ESP is cool. Let's blow up the ship. Let's blow up the ship.
Say, hey,
Good
ESP
idea.
is cool. Hey, so we F8 and FO'd. So we're gonna go ahead and just kind of self-destruct real quick.
Yeah, we're exiting
And
stage left. We don't even want to be in this episode. We're out.
yeah, and so whatever whammy they got hit with, and the Enterprise got hit with that same whammy. I don't think we ever
Yeah,
really find out what it actually was. It was just some kind of wave of
energy
power.
field. Yeah, some energy field or what have you. And this is where Gary Mitchell, who I thought they did another pretty good um setup in the sense like we're in the turbo lift, and the red alert's going off, and Kirk and
Hmm.
Spock and Gary Mitchell are kind of bantering back and forth like friends. They do a really good job of kind of setting up the fact that these guys are friends. They've been working together for a while. They're
Yeah,
comfortable
and
with
now,
one, even in a
yeah,
stressful
not only,
situation.
yeah, and just of course, not only that, just knowing that they know each other long before the Enterprise, and you kind of almost get that feeling at the beginning, and then the more and more deeper you go into the episode, and you find out that hey, they came up through the academy together. They you know interacted, with each other's love lives, all kinds of stuff like that. And so, yeah, you find out their friendship is pretty deep.
Yeah, yeah,
And
and I
so,
think that makes Gary Mitchell's fall throughout the episode a little more important. I mean, because if Kirk didn't know him, Gary Mitchell might as well have
yeah,
been a red shirt. Like, who
yeah.
cares?
Then it'd been like, oh, Gary, oh, well, just beam me down the planet. Let's get on out.
Kirk didn't have to feign his. You killed three of my men. Like, you don't care about your three men, red
Yeah.
shirts. You don't care, dude. You don't care.
So there's three red shirts. Let's just stop over at the next Starfleet starport and pick up three more.
And these are some things that I thought. These are some things that I thought that were largely missed in the reboot in the Kelvin timeline. Like there was so much room for Easter eggs. Like you could have just had,
Oh
and
yeah,
it
absolutely.
may only be for Star Trek hardcore fans, but like, can you imagine if like there was just one little scene in the Star Trek reboot where Kirk's at the Academy and he's hanging out with Gary Mitchell,
Yeah.
even for like
Or just
a
something,
30
even
second
just like,
scene.
hey, or even just like, oh hey, all right, Gary, take care. Something like that.
Yeah,
Just so it's like, hey, and again, that, like you said, it would be for the hardcore Trek fans. That would be like, oh, he's talking about Gary Mitchell. Yeah.
right. And it's something that they're doing it for mainstream audiences. They're because they don't want
Hmm.
to give any fan service. They did this in The Dark Knight Rises at the very end when John Blake goes to pick up his little bag that he was left by Bruce Wayne, and she's
Of
like, "Oh,
course.
you should use your legal name, Robin." Like that was so
It's like,
forced.
come on.
It was so
That
forced and fake. Why couldn't she just go, I don't have your name here. He's like, "Oh, use my legal name, or my legal name is Dick Grayson."
Yeah.
Okay, it's fine if
Then it's like, cool.
50%, it's fine if
Then
50% of the crowd didn't get it. That's not for them. It's
right.
for the hardcore Batman fans.
Yeah, then it's like, oh, that wait, hold up.
Like,
Then
oh
you
yeah, not
then
just
you're
oh,
like
you just
trying to figure out, say, hold up, how did Dick Grayson go from that to being a police detective? And yeah, I get that.
but
You
no, they
know,
had to force feed it, and
but
like
they had to
here,
force it.
this is Robin. Like, oh, okay, okay. I get it. Oh, whoa, calm
Yeah,
down.
it's like, oh,
Calm down.
all right, okay. And so when he gets
Oh,
hit with the whammy, and then Gary, then it goes to the scene where we see Gary's eyes
oh yeah, he gets
completely all
blasted by
white,
the
blasted by the
silver
thing, and
eyes
his
and just
he gets the silver shining, sparkling eyes, I guess. And which we find out that later. And the next scene that comes up, when he's in sick bay, and then he's starting to read
yeah, and read
everything.
everything. He's suddenly become like the speed reading champion, just devouring all
Yes.
knowledge and all that stuff. And I don't, I guess maybe I do. I wonder why he builds this like vitriol towards not just humans, but Kirk especially. I mean, like, I guess the power took away any empathy or connection he
Uh,
had with a
well,
friendship that has lasted decades.
well, to me, the kind of whole theme of the episode was um, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely,
Absolutely. Yeah. That makes
and
sense. That makes sense.
but here's the thing though, Gary may have been really good friends with Kirk and really great friend, or I don't know about great friends with Spock, or at least, had a
It's
really good working relationship with Spock.
as good of friends as you can be, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, Gary was he's a little problematic with how he talked to, the psychiatrist, and he's a little problematic with how he talked to what was the other yeoman? The one there, when the wave started happening, for whatever weird reason, he had to hold her hand. I didn't understand that. I didn't get it, but hey. So
No, no, but it's just that was Trek
so
in
he
the
kind of
'60s.
was Trek in the 60s. Hey. So to me, right then and there, I saw some kind of red flags that popped up here and there. They're very, very small and subtle, but you can see how, okay, yeah, he gets this power, he can easily be corrupted into just being like,
Right.
oh,
And
everything's I'm better than everything and everyone, you know?
exactly. And Denner's character or Kellerman's character, Dr. Denner, she does bring up when she's talking to Kirk about the damage, where she's like, of the crew members that died, there was damage to specific parts of their brain.
Right,
But
right,
whereas
yeah.
with her and Gary Mitchell, it didn't kill them. It because she's
It
going to
just
get those
basically, yeah,
same
it
powers
basically
later,
made them stronger.
right? And their ESP, their Esper rating or
So it just
ESP
went
rating
just
is, that
it's
that
just shot upward.
that
They're
was
Esper.
never again visited in all of Star Trek. We brought it up one time, and that's it. And
I
that's it.
know they kind of it's sort of a remake with it with Riker when Q kind of made him a trial Q,
Oh yeah,
and then Riker kind of just went, you know,
I would say another parallel would be Barkley in the one episode when he becomes like this
oh
in
yeah,
supercomputer in the
when he
holodeck or
becomes
whatever.
yeah the holodeck supercomputer genius whatever guy, yeah,
Right. Yeah. So yeah, that's a good point. You give these people that, and it's two different parallels. Riker is a person who's in a position of power and
right.
is
And then
used
you
to
put
having, and then
he's
you
used
take
to
someone,
yeah, he's used to having that power. He's used to being to telling people, go do this, go do that, go da 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 da.
and then
He's
Barkley,
used
who
to it.
had none.
And then all of a sudden you give him power of, oh, I can make everything and everyone do what I want, when I want, how I want. You
Yeah,
and
exactly.
both those, yeah, both you saying like both those extremes, you shove the power of a god into them, and it's like, whoa, they're gonna go off the rails.
Right. Right. And I do like how Gary Mitchell does kind of knock Kirk down a peg or two, especially with the whole story about the little blonde girl. And Kirk is
Yeah.
like you set that up,
Yeah. I almost married her.
right?
Yeah,
Exactly. I was married her.
exactly. It's like,
Like,
yeah.
oh, maybe Kirk wasn't always the womanizer. He had to have a little help from his buddy Gary. But
Oh, yeah. And I can see that's again, that's one of those stories with one of those those guys that's for whatever reason you called out your best friend and he set you up like that just because he thought it'd be funny.
right, right, exactly. But anyway, like Dr. Denner, she's assigned to Gary Mitchell to sort of watch him and
And
that sort of
monitor
thing.
and make sure that he doesn't, you know,
And
fly off the rails, but
she
she
even
flies off
says
the
as
rails too.
she even says as much that Gary Mitchell doesn't like her very much, with the previous flirting incident. And then,
And kind of shut him down, and he's just like, "Ooh, Ice Queen."
yeah,
Or
what did he
what do you say? Or what
I'm
kind of
looking
remark
now.
he made?
What did he call her? Yeah. Oh my gosh, I just saw it a moment ago. Like I said, I don't have my notes, so I gotta walking freezer or something like that.
Yes, that's it.
Walking freezer unit. There it
Walking
is.
freezer.
Okay.
So it's like, really, man, really? That
Yeah,
that's what
more
That's what we do with
misogyny.
the name calling. Just because she said no, now we got to call her names. And that's what we're doing.
Yeah, that's how, I mean, how is that different than any incel or, toxic masculine person these days? Like, hey, you're
Yeah.
cute. Want to go out? No, I don't want to go out. Well, you're ugly. I don't want to date you anyway. Okay,
Well, see,
whatever.
I was just I didn't want you to go out anyways.
I was taking pity on you. Like, okay.
It's like, okay.
So when you asked me out, I was taking pity on myself. So thanks for that, though.
And so yeah, like I said, Gary was one he could easily be corrupted because he was in that position of power, and up until we have to assume up until the therapist said, "No, I'm good." we have to assume that everyone, every yeoman and or doctor, or every every lady crew,
For Lady Crewman. Yeah.
every lady crewman.
Thank God
Uh,
Rand was not in this episode because my God, that girl has gone through, and will go
oh,
through so
jeez.
much. My goodness. I mean,
Like, she has to burn up all the therapist time just because it's just having to deal with just the crap.
oh, what was another one I was watching, and we'll get to it down the road, but The Enemy Within, when Kirk
Uh-huh.
splits into the two different halves, the good and the
Yeah.
evil side. I mean, that's got some pretty serious non-consensual scenes in it.
Yeah. And that's another one of those things that going through, I forgot that was in that in
God.
Star Trek.
I almost feel bad for Grace Lee Whitney that she just was there to be kind of like the victim all the time.
Yeah.
Although I did like in Charlie
And
X when she went to Kirk and she's like, you need to talk to him because I might have to hurt him. I did like that
it's
little
like
line. That was cool.
so at least you know it's like, all right, I put up with a lot, but he's about to cross the line. Now y'all haven't, but he is.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So, but we got Gary right, and she's Dr. Denner's testing his memory, and he's just like
Right?
reciting all of these books that he just read in the blink of an eye, and
Right. And then he decides he's going to use one of the pages that she picked out as a way to flirt with her.
again,
Because again, he
he may
can't
have
handle
called her.
rejection.
No, he may have called her a walking freezer unit, but he's like, oh
So,
yes,
oh, I'm gonna warm her up.
he
She's the
pulled a
walking
Wayne.
freezer, but I'm gonna warm her up.
Yeah, he pulled a Wayne. Oh yes, she will be mine.
Yes, that's exactly what he did. So, oh,
Oh
she will be mine. Oh, yes, she will be mine.
yeah, what was the Nightingale Woman was the poem that he was reciting to her,
Yes, and
uh,
then
and now he's got her pulled close and asking her how she feels, and like he's getting trying to
he's getting
slide up
close and he's
in.
just like, look in my eyes, baby. You see the white and the silver sparkle, 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 baby. Twinkle, twinkle. You see it.
And
You see it. You're falling in love with me. You see it, baby. You're falling in love with me. You see the sprinkle, sprinkles.
yeah, like you can't deny it. You can't deny the chemistry.
Yeah, and all the time she's just like, oh, okay, all right, sure, and just kind of uncomfortably playing along, but then slowly just kind of like, hmm,
But she's buying
then
into it
maybe
because she purposely does not, at least right away, tell Kirk about Mitchell's new
about that,
powers.
or yeah, about the
She's hiding
powers,
from him.
or him, with the constant flirting and everything like that. Of course, he saw the one time, and then of course Kirk probably naturally just thought to say, hey. One time, and he got shot down in front of everybody. He got humiliated, and so hey, you know, I know he's out. He's not going.
Yeah,
And
yeah, exactly. And we got to address the bad uniforms again because we do get some looks at Scotty
yeah,
and Sulu. Sulu's in blue, Scotty's in
yeah,
gold. Um,
yeah. And
man,
I
I'm
think
glad.
this was this had to be long before somebody or anybody sat down and just kind of truly assigned the colors and departments and the looks. At some point, somebody had to say, okay, look, why is Spock wearing blue? And he says he's science, but then okay, Sulu wearing blue, but he's saying
He's
he's flying a ship. But then now we had to change Sulu to wearing red, but hold up, he can't wear red, but now he has to wear green. Can't wear well the green gold. So now, oh, what are we gonna do now? Okay, let's just figure this out. All right, let's.
There has
And
been
so,
some inconsistencies in departmental coloration.
yeah, and so you had to think is that somebody or like three or four or five, some people just had to sit down for like hours on end and just trying to figure out, you know, the color and what department and you know, yeah, it just had to be just
And they still changed it 20 years later.
yeah, and
Like
it's still forever changing.
and I wonder if they did that on purpose or if they were just like, you know what? Patrick Stewart doesn't look that great in gold. So let's go ahead and swap command and
Yeah. Now
tactical or
the only thing
engineering
I do
services.
know, oh, I'm sorry. I said the only thing I do know for sure that it did in Next Gen was change the commander red because it's trying to break that stigma of the red shirts going down to a planet and never
Oh,
coming
right.
back.
Yeah. Yeah. You had mentioned that before. Correct.
That's the
Yeah.
only thing I know. But other than that, they just was kind of like, let's flip a coin this week. All right, blue is science. Let's go with it.
Oh, well, what can you do? I mean, anytime you have a giant franchise like this, be it Star Trek, Star Wars, anything that has multiple series that does a big cross
Yeah,
continuity, you're going to have gaps
it's going to be
and
inconsistencies. It's going to be gaps.
inconsistencies.
It's all kinds of holes in it. So it's
Right.
just kind of be expected.
Exactly. Exactly. So let's see, where are we at in this episode yet? Oh God, I hate that I don't have my notes, but
And so now at this point,
oh yeah, Kirk
he's
is watching
flirting.
him,
Kurt's
and Kirk
watching,
looks at the
Gary's reading,
camera
and so they're looking at the monitor, and Gary looks at him, and
and
it's
smiles.
almost like it almost smiles and like he wants to give him the wink.
Thanks for stopping by.
Exactly. Just hey. And
Oh,
so
he was pretty creepy. I mean, I'll give him that for, when I was a kid, remembering seeing this episode as a kid, thinking, God, that guy's crazy. He's scary. I was like 8 years old. So, I mean, a Teletubby would have been frightening to me at that age. But
let's say my first instinct was the same as Spock's. You know,
well,
beam him down to the planet, beam him down to the planet, beam him down to the planet, set the warp off, set the like warp six, and drop a bomb and let her and just go.
I'm out. We're out. We gotta go. We gotta go. But you can't have the whole setup with, beaming down to the planet and Kirk is like talking to the Enterprise, like, well, the phaser rifle you ordered is on the way. He's like, I didn't order any phaser
And the
rifle. And
phaser and
Spock just
Spock
walks
walks
in
in
like,
with the phaser rifle.
like, like, oh,
Yeah, and
never
so
mind.
and so I think that's the next part. Actually, I think that's what it comes to after they're busy trying to after they've seen what Gary can do and they've seen that he is taking over the ship. He can kind of at will make the ship do what he wants and security's trying to put him in the brig and Gary's just everywhere, wrecking shop everywhere, just taking over the whole enterprise. And so now they get to what was it? The Dab I keep wanting to say it's
What?
Davos, but it's not Davos.
Um, the planet that they're orbiting,
Yeah, the one
Delta
they plan on
Vega,
drop.
Delta Vega, where they can adapt the lithium cracking, where they can adapt the lithium cracking station's power packs to try and repair its damaged systems, which also brings me back to like when the Enterprise
Yeah,
is under attack or it's being, these energy. Why is Spock yelling? Like every other person on the bridge is just talking in a normal voice. But Spock is yelling again. For a non-emotional person, he sure does yell a lot, especially in these early episodes. Just like,
yeah. But then
dude,
again, he did,
volume.
which was funny to me, is that he did say is that because Kirk said something about him having emotions, and he was like, Well, since one of my ancestors did marry a human, uh, not talking
One of
about his
my
ancestors.
one
One of
my
your, you
ancestors.
mean your dad? You mean your
Yeah,
dad? Your dad
eh,
married your mom?
right, right. Like, well, when I go out, well, when I'm out like climbing or something, I'm out in public with my parents, and I see someone I haven't seen, I'm like, oh, hey, how you doing? I'd like to introduce you to my ancestors.
That's right.
Like, I'm gonna do that sometime just to see what my mom and dad do.
So I'd like to introduce my ancestors,
These are my
but
ancestors. Oh, Spock and his family affairs. I mean,
I
like what the episode when
mean,
Sarek comes onto the ship, and then Kirk is like, "Well, hey Spock, don't you want to? We're on Vulcan. You want to beam down and see your parents?" And Spock's like, "These are my parents. These are my ancestors."
so these are my ancestors. I
Oh gosh.
mean, he's not wrong, but it's just weird way to say it.
I don't think that they probably didn't at that point in the script, but
To kind of think that far ahead that,
that was actually
oh,
his parents
yeah,
that he was
we'll
half
make his
human. He
mom
was
human. Yeah.
right. Yeah. We haven't gotten the introduction to Amanda yet, so we'll get
And
there
so yeah.
eventually.
And so
Oh, so we're trying to, but Spock is trying to tell Kirk we got to get rid of him. We got to
yeah.
get. He's going to
Says,
overpower the crew. He got
say
to
you gotta
go.
go. You gotta
He's
go.
got to
You
go.
gotta go.
So we're going to
So
go to
look,
this planet and just drop him off and get the ever loving
said
frack
we gotta
out of
get
here.
that file. Said we gotta look, let's just throw him in the transporter, beam him down, hit warp 9, and get the F out. Let's do that.
To quote another movie franchise, I say we take off, nuke the site from orbit. It's the only way to be
Yeah,
sure.
exactly. And of course,
Boom! Just be done with it.
Kirk
Just be done
Kirk
with it.
doesn't want to do that. Doesn't want to. He said, "No, we can. There's got to be some way we can reason with him, talk to him, something." And then
And then
and I
Gary's like, I ain't going. He's like, I ain't going. But then,
yeah,
everybody gang piles him.
the gang piles him, and I don't know what kind of what kind of stun thing they did to him, into which he could stand completely straight up but still be unconscious at the same time.
Your body is going to go completely rigid. Your center of gravity will not shift, so therefore you will be perfectly balanced in an upright position. Maybe it's kind of
Yes,
like maybe it's the way you can take those brooms, those certain style of brooms, and stand them upright because of their center of gravity without touching them. You've
hell,
seen that
maybe.
that whole trend? I don't know.
Yeah, I've seen those. Yeah, I don't know, maybe, but that's just I've never seen that in my life.
I'm just
Where you
standing
just
straight
kind of
up,
just
like,
say, I'm just gonna stand straight up and be unconscious. Just,
yeah. You can only tell that I'm tranquilized because my head is down. I,
uh,
you
and
know,
so I finally get him down to the planet, and then
now he's mad because he's waking
he
up.
said now he's mad because he's up and he's awake, and then
I will,
everybody's gonna get it now.
I will
Everybody's got it now
squash
because
you like insects. It's always
uh,
insects.
it's always like insects that
It's always like
ah.
insects.
I
Oh, let's
see.
see. Just combined to a
Yeah,
holding
oh my
cell.
gosh.
Lieutenant Kelso, is he like the engineering chief at this point? They sure do. He had a
I
lot of
think so.
scenes, and Scotty was in it, but just not as much. I like when they bring everyone to the bridge and you've got like Sulu and Scotty and like three other random dudes just kind of standing there, like all awkwardly, like
It's like hey, so how much you getting paid for this? I'm getting $20. How much you getting paid?
I
They
got
giving
I
you
got
20?
I got
Bruh,
14.50 in a Snickers bar.
bro, they only gave me catering.
Hater.
So what about you? Dude, I just walked in.
Well, one of the
I
one
just
of the
walked
crew
in and they just said put this shirt on. It's kind of
one of the
hot.
crew members one of the crew members wrote me a doctor's notice so I can not get in trouble for missing work today to be here for free.
I know. I just walked in, they gave me this shirt. It's kind of itchy. It's like, but hey, it's cool.
Right, right. And now that and then you got Gary, he's not passed out anymore. He's in this cell and now all of a sudden I'm confused because he's trying to, I guess, you know, connect with Kirk again, saying, that one time I saved your life one time, this, that happened, like, why are
Yeah.
you fearing me now? And I'm like, if I were Kirk, I'm sitting here thinking, you've done nothing to make
So,
anyone feel comfortable with you
right.
at all.
Like
You've been,
at this point, I mean, you got a long way to go to try to even begin to think to try to earn my trust back. And
and
that's even if you get, even if you get it, because I mean, at this point, I mean, you have, what have you done to this ship? How many people have you just kind of unalive now at this point? And now, and now you get beamed out to the planet, and now all of a sudden it's like, yo, you have pretty much murked everybody that's there.
yeah,
Yeah,
and then it doesn't help his case when he like attacks the energy field, the force field.
right.
His
So it
eyes
doesn't help you
drain,
anything.
his eyes
Yeah.
go back to normal. He has a moment where he's like, Kirk,
So Jim,
help, yeah,
and it's
Jim, help me. And then boom, he's back again. Like, I will crush you like insects.
right. And it's
Like,
like,
uh,
dude, you got to go. You got to go.
proof that bipolar disorder still exists in the 23rd century. So oh, only this one was artificially uh,
Artificially inseminated
created,
on that one.
artificially inseminated. I have artificially inseminated bipolar disorder. Like, whoa, whoa.
Whoa, hey man.
I
I
don't,
don't know. I don't know what all that's about, but
what you do behind closed doors is your business.
yeah, and that's none of my concern. And so yeah, Gary's out there starting all kinds of just absolute chaos onto the planet. Too much to the point where now the the therapist thinking that she could talk him down, get him calm.
While at
Oh
the
no, she
same
went
time,
down. Oh no, she went down there with him. That's right. She went down there with him.
Kirk is like, hey, Kelso, let's set up a bunch of bombs. And if he gets out,
So
we're
if
just
he
going to
gets
blow
out,
the,
then
we're going to nuke the site from orbit. Right.
yeah, yeah, good, good, good,
Good. Good plan. Good plan.
good plan, great plan.
Good plan.
And
The
then
first rule of combat engagement, overkill is not.
exactly.
Or was that burn everything? I always get those two confused. Anyway, either way.
Either way, maybe both. A little bit of both works. You can never go. You can never go too scorched earth.
Right. And now, as always, the woman, she's fascinated with him now. She's like, everyone's getting ready to leave. And she's like, oh, I'm not leaving. I'm gonna
I'm
stay
gonna
with
stay with him
we're gonna stay with Gary.
because I stay with Gary because Gary's eyes are like mine.
We have a kinship now.
We're gonna have sparkly eye babies with Gary.
I mean, it's really a good thing that Kellerman went on to have such more prominent roles, like Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield.
Ah.
Oh, at
Oh,
least
Rodney Dangerfield.
at least Gary Mitchell didn't perform any triple Lindys in this episode.
That's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
That's a good
Uh,
thing. And
oh gosh.
so
Okay.
now
So
we
what
have the
happens next?
bombs are
Uh,
set. Kirk goes down and I don't know why. Wants to, I guess, talk to Gary, reason with him one last time. I don't know.
yeah, this is because
See? Say
tries
goodbye, talk
to,
smack.
and then he's just like, whatever. I'm just gonna zap you guys. Take a nap.
Say,
Go to sleep.
take, talk smack.
Take take five.
Say,
Take five.
say, hey man, look, we got some bombs head around. Not gonna do anything. Last chance. All
And
right,
and
whatever.
and and Mitchell just taunts him. Just taunts. He's like, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. You're just insects to me.
Hey, well,
Surprised they didn't throw any techno babble in there, like I will squash you like Rigelian fleas or something like
of course.
that. Always seems to be.
It's always sort of like overly complicated, just simple bug. I shall crush you like the water bugs of Rigel 7.
Right.
What?
Is it? It wasn't this episode, was it? No, I think it's a later episode. I think it's the Sarek episode when Spock and McCoy are talking, and they're talking about Spock's teddy bear when he was a kid. Spock was like, "Well, on
Yeah,
Vulcan, teddy bears are this big and have 6-inch fangs." And
right.
that's not a
Well,
teddy
on
bear.
Vulcan, there, Spock. For someone that has no emotion, that was pride just there, and your ego just got bruised.
Yeah, yeah.
And first thing, just like everybody with their egos got bruised, and you don't know how to deal with it yet. No, 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 no. Wait, no. See, because teddy bears, they're 6 feet tall, and they have
Razor
razor sharp
sharp fangs.
claws, and they're on cocaine all the time.
Cocaine teddy bears. Star Trek fan fiction for anyone watching. Cocaine teddy bears from Vulcan. Cocaine teddy bears from Vulcan.
Hmm.
There we go. You thought cocaine bear
Say, look,
Elizabeth Mitchell? Are you watching
said,
Elizabeth Mitchell or Elizabeth
said,
Banks?
look, Elizabeth
Elizabeth
Banks.
Banks.
There
Make
you
it
go.
happen.
You made that happen.
Yep. Yep.
Cocaine teddy bears
Absolutely.
from Vulcan.
Yep. I mean, there's bank in this. There's bank in that.
I mean, that's money in the title.
Yeah.
That's just money in the title right there. And you
Yeah.
and everybody listening, you just got that for free.
Yeah, you got that for free. I mean, we're not even going to encroach on it. You want to take that and write it and go for it.
Eh,
Go for it. You let us know where you post it, and we'll promote you here on
exactly.
the rules of Nerdquisition. I got it right again, twice. Twice.
Bam. No, you get it right.
Uh,
First thing I try, I get it wrong. The rules of requisition. Oh, here we go. And my oh my goodness. My dog is calling because she needs to go out.
am I gonna let your dog out?
I need to let my dog out. Yeah.
Yeah, we can wait.
So
No
you need to
problem.
know. So
This is
so to answer
this
the age-old question of who let the dogs out, it was me.
it was angry.
It
It was
was
angry.
me. That's who let the dogs out.
Intermission.
I'll be right back in just 5 seconds.
Oh, life does not stop for podcasts. It does not.
And we are back.
And he is back. I only thing I shared was that life does not stop for podcasts.
And it's like,
But we're back to the pivotal moment where for Kirk and Spock are down for the count for the moment. Gary Mitchell escapes. Kelso doesn't even try and stop him, but does that matter to Gary? No. Gary's just like,
no.
I don't like you, Kelso. I'm gonna mentally strangle you with this cable.
So Gary's like, you know what, Kelso? I don't like you. I don't like you. You're too good at your job. You're too good. I
I
don't
have
like it.
e-
You got to go.
I have ESP, and I saw Back in Time in my world, which there was a show called That 70s Show, and there was a character named Kelso, and I hated him. And you've got
Yeah.
his name. So I have to strangle you
So I
now
kind
with
of
my
I have to
ESP
do it.
cable.
So I mean, you seem like a nice guy. You seem like a nice guy. I mean,
You seem like a decent fellow. I hate to kill you. You
I
seem
mean,
like a decent fellow. I hate to
you seem
die.
like a decent fellow. I mean, yeah, your Starfleet record. is commendable, but you gotta go.
Okay, so our Dr. Generic revives Captain Kirk, and a little bit later tells him, poor Kelso, he's he's red shirt this week, even though red shirt's not a thing,
So
but is a thing because it was filmed
he's
after,
a
but before in the second, third pilot,
yeah, he's the
divided by purple under a full moon on the third Tuesday of every fourth month
he's a the
of even
turtleneck
years.
gold.
Right,
He's a
right.
turtleneck gold before they became red. He's a turtleneck gold.
Oh, let's see it. Oh, Kirk wants to go like full out here. Let's see. Kirk now blames himself for not taking Spock's warning, taking Spock's phaser rifle because Gary and Dr. Denner have escaped.
Yes. And
They're
then
out in the valley, and Kirk's like, you know what? I'm going after him, but just in case,
so JFK, but
let's just irradiate the whole valley and get to the closest starbase.
yeah.
If I fail, I say we take off and nuke the site from orbit.
Mm. Right.
That's
Meanwhile,
multiple times this episode
you
of
know,
nuking the site from orbit, just like
right.
overkill, overkill.
Say overkill. Exactly. Well, meanwhile, now Gary and the doctor kind of they've gotten there and they've calmed down.
But
And so
Gary's
now,
Gary's showing signs of his Moses syndrome. 'Cause he's got the gray now on the
yeah,
sides. He's like he just
he's
come down from the mountain with the knowledge of good and evil, and
yeah, and so now he's starting to build his own Garden of Eden, with the plants and the vegetation and the life and everything like that. And he's creating all this other stuff and everything that's beautiful. And then he's living his best life. It was like, all right, cool. We could just, hit warp 9 and we could dip on out to episode 4. Nah, nah.
now
Kirk
this
can't
is
let that happen.
no, and this is a question that I have too. That I was sort of wondering when I watched this episode. So you've got Kirk, he's out chasing them through the valley. He runs into Dr. Denner, and he's
Hmm.
trying to appeal to her human side.
Yeah,
She's starting to listen to him a little bit, but Gary ain't having it. Gary shows
yeah,
up, and Kirk gets out that phaser rifle and shoots him. Now, my question is, what is the difference between a hand phaser and a phaser rifle? I mean, they both do the same thing, right? It's not like, say, a rifle versus
yeah.
a sidearm, which have different, a rifle has a greater range than, say, a
Like,
sidearm
yeah,
in our world.
I don't know. The only thing I can think is maybe is that because maybe because the power pack on the regular phaser is smaller than the rifle. The rifle
Could
lasts a
be,
lot longer. Um,
could be, yeah.
Maybe it just has a higher settings on the intensity of the laser, but I mean, you know, kill, kill, kill is kill.
I've just always wondered that because if you look at like phasers versus phaser rifles, I guess, in like next gen, the phaser
But
fires a static beam where the
yeah,
phaser rifles fire like a pulse. It doesn't fire a
or
straight beam, it's a pulse. Where this one fired a
yeah,
beam, and Gary's just like, whatever, makes the
I don't
gun
know,
go
maybe
fly
that
away.
I don't know. Maybe that is the difference is that because the phasers only fire just a straight beam, whereas a rifle can alternate between straight beam and pulse like that. I don't know.
Maybe it's a good theory to
That
think about. These are just the questions that pop into my head, like, makes you wonder.
yeah. And
But Gary ain't
and the
having
thing
it.
is, no, Gary ain't having that.
I just
Said
and
Gary's like,
the gun
nah.
flies the gun
Gary's
flies
like, nah.
away, and
Said, nah, son, we can't have that.
so we got to get in, of course. This starts an interesting trend because we get our fight scene. Okay. What I like
Hmm.
to call phaser softly on my grave scene, because because Gary creates this like grave for Kirk. You got that 6 foot hole in the
Yeah.
tombstone and all that stuff, and they're fighting, and um it starts an interesting trend that does become sort of like one of those monster of the week kind of things where Kirk gets his shirt ripped.
Yes.
The ripping of Kirk's shirt. So I think
And
we
it's
even get one
always
in next week's episode, but we'll get
yeah,
there.
it's always the dramatic pause, and then it's like, "Dang," and where it's always like he's frozen, but is he frozen in fear? But is he frozen with this? And then he just does a tuck and roll, and then it's just
Yeah,
that's it.
and Kirk is getting his rear resoundly kicked,
Yeah,
resoundly. And if it
but
wasn't for Denner kind of stepping in and using some of her powers to throw
he would
Gary
have been
off,
yeah. Then he would have been just completely just
he'd have been hamburger. He'd
yeah.
have been hamburger. I mean, just done. Pile of smoldering ground beef. I mean, just
But
with a torn
every
shirt.
time, always to his credit, never backs down from a fight. It's just always he just always gets he just gets his butt handed to him.
Now, the the scene that really kind of gets me though, and I'm not against it or anything, but it does raise up more questions. They're fighting. Kirk is losing. They fall into the grave when Kirk does that dive at him. He shoots in and they tack on the
Right,
grave, and Kirk jumps out, scrambles with his ripped shirt to the phaser rifle, and he shoots the rock, and the rock falls on Gary. And it's
right,
like
of course.
Gary was just like Superman blocking the laser beams with his hands and stuff a minute ago, but a rock,
You-
a
Like
rock.
you can't. Nope.
I expected him to be like with like a Vader from the Rebels TV series, like with his hands up in the air and the boulder rising up, like you know.
Yeah, as Kirk walks away, then all of a sudden you hear, and then the rock, the boulder just rises up, and, and Gary just floats up, and it was, who do you think you are? And just throws that rock at Kirk,
Yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly. Now
but
I'm trying to figure out here why did so Kirk after Gary gets smashed by the rock, the minute his head is in view, hit it with the rock. Um,
right.
he runs over to Dr. Denner, and did Gary do something to her because she's dying? I'm trying to find it here. I'm really,
I want to
really
say,
lost without my notes. I'm really
I
lost without my
want to
notes.
say, because at that point, I could not figure that out either as to why. The only thing I could think of is that because she was connected to him and his power, whatever, whatever, it something within her when he died, she died. That's the only thing I can think of. But
Yeah, maybe there were some inexorably linked some
yeah,
way. I don't know. I mean, again, like I said, without my notes, without having to been able to really like break down an outline of the episode and watching it and just going on memory alpha, it doesn't really say anything about
no,
Mitchell
because
doing
I mean,
anything to her.
because it really did. Because I'm every time when I looked at it, it was like there's realistic. There should be no reason why she died.
Oh, okay. I guess right before Kirk and Gary really get to fight, there was the moment when she attacks Gary and they're blasting
Oh,
each
okay.
other. They're blasting each other and then they both collapse. So maybe
So I
they just,
guess
you
so
know,
I guess she must have just gotten caught in the crossfire, I guess.
and she
I guess
wasn't as
that's kind
powerful
of
as she wasn't as powerful as he was. So maybe she just took more damage. But nothing I thought was
still
really like, oh, she should just die.
but
But
still it's it's kind of a it's kind of a it's a
it's a moment that makes you
too much open to interpretation on that because I mean
it's one of those moments that make you go, hmm.
like it's one of those moments that give you like the look like your dogs give you like just like that confused and the head tilt to the side just huh
Right.
because you don't understand what's happening because it's like lady
It's
you should be getting up right now if anything you should be thinking to yourself, it's like, oh, well, my wounds are getting healed. The same thing as what he did. Like he made himself for I don't know why he couldn't lift that rock up,
But
but we all
still,
saw is
yeah,
that
yeah,
but we all saw when he was in sick bay, he wanted to make himself better. He made himself better.
yeah, he did. He did. He just let it go to his head. But again,
Yeah.
that goes back to your theme, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So he just couldn't handle the fact. I'll be honest with you. If somebody gave me the powers of Q today, am I going to be a good girl? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think
Oh, I know.
I'm gonna pull a General Zod, I mean kneel
Oh, I
before
know I
Gretchen.
won't. Oh,
Kneel
I know
before
I won't.
Gretchen.
I tell you honestly, I know I won't.
I got some grudges to take out on the world. And I've got a list of people to
Said,
start with.
oh yeah, because I say like how an old coworker of mine used to say, is because the way he would always say is that God knew never to give me superpowers because he knows I would use them.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And
It
that's
would not be
and that's
pleasant for
exactly what I
a
do.
lot of
I would
people.
use. That would be the problem, is that I can't have superpowers because I know I would use them.
Right. No, exactly. It's like it makes me think of like bad as the movie was, Star or Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. Remember how
Yep.
he was like, I'm gonna take all the nukes, I'm gonna get rid of them. I
Hmm.
mean, he could have gone so far beyond. Now I know Superman's a good guy. He doesn't do that. He's not here to, conquer governments and you know create
Right.
the rule of one man on this planet. But I
So
guess in
he
that
clearly,
universe, you're lucky you got Superman and not me, because I don't think like he does.
that right? Because I mean, if I had the powers of Superman, look, I would not be, I would not be trying to hide in Kansas on a farm. That'd be the last thing I do.
No, nope. And even when you get like into like the secret identities and stuff, I know that Superman was Clark Kent to protect people that he loves. All you got to be like, look, if you harm anyone that I love or care about, I'm going to vaporize you.
Yeah.
I'm going to crush every bone in your body. I'm going to
Mhm.
do it as slow as possible, and you're going to wish that it was over. So you can threaten me and yes, hurt me by hurting people that I love, but I will hurt you more. Wow, this episode got dark
Yeah.
fast. Like
Yeah, it got dark.
they were
Yeah,
talking
it
about
got real
Star
dark.
Trek. They were talking about Star Trek and then their plans to conquer the world. Well, gee, Bray, what we gonna do tomorrow night?
Same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
And
Oh,
we're
but
gonna
this episode kind of delved into, to me, it's just like what just exactly that. What would we do if we were in that position? We got thrust on the powers of a god,
right. Yeah.
you know. Would we, just try to take over a whole ship? Or would we be okay and content with just being in a remote place and just living out, just being isolated and just maybe just having one other person there? Will we be able to content with that?
And
You know,
despite all the trauma, Kirk still
I still wanted to
in
help him, wanted to
and then
help him, wanted to,
honored
yeah,
him posthumously in his record by saying that Gary Mitchell died in the line of duty along with Dr. Denner. They
right.
both died in the line of duty. He didn't like, oh, well, you see, he was just as like my friend of mine, and then he got these powers and he turned into a total d bag. And
Yeah,
then
and he,
like
he killed a he killed a whole bunch of people, and then we had to put it. It's like,
we fought and I
no,
dropped a rock on his head. I mean,
said though, because even then, just like you said, to the end, Kirk was still he was still his friend. He still loved him, and he wanted to honor him. So even though he knew Gary didn't want that, he didn't want to. All Gary wanted to do, was eventually become captain, admiral, retire, have his family, retire with his family, whole nine, and just live out his days like that. He knew
and
that.
even Spock says, that he felt a little something, to which, Kirk
It's like there's maybe
drops
hope
on
for
his
you
like,
yet.
there's for you, just drops those little, oh
Those little
man, I
gems.
mean, those little gyms and jabs and what have you. I mean, what last week we had Uhura singing about, there's a crew member with the devil's guise. And then
Right. Yes.
I, I,
And
I was watching another episode of the one with the transmuter with the haunted castle and the giant black cat and all that stuff. And, and they're
yeah.
talking about trick or treat, and Kirk and McCoy are like, well, there is one of us here that resembles that. And it's like, oh my God, you guys are just like horrible. You're body shaming people. You're,
God.
you're being xenophobic. God.
So the first day if I was Spock, first thing I want to do is wear a hat. Hang on. I will be back in 5 seconds. I need another quick
the,
interlude.
the headband from Star Trek 4.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
They like you very much, but they're not the hell your whales. Brief intermission. We're letting the dog in.
Alrighty.
Did you get the dog back
Sorry
in?
about that. Yep. She
Okay,
is back
cool.
in. She is
All
good.
right.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. I was surprised that just for whatever reason, Spock wasn't wearing a hat or a headband or something.
Right, right.
But
Yeah,
I suppose,
we're supposed to be evolved at this point, but it's just
but still, I guess
no, it just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
they just even in the 23rd, 4th century,
This is the third, yeah,
been
24th is
23rd,
next gen, yeah.
it's in the 23rd century. Pranks are still pranks, and some people just love to do them.
Now, while I thought that this episode had some important themes in it, again, with the corruption that power brings and stuff like that, not one of my favorite episodes. So that's why it was interesting kind of watching this again, because when I would go back on other times and watch episodes that I like to watch,
Uh-huh.
especially when I was on Paramount, and I'm looking, and this would be one that I would normally skip over. I wouldn't
Right.
watch it. Um, I don't know. I mean, it's not short on action. It's got the same themes that Star Trek has. I just there's something about it. I don't know. It just didn't really resonate
Just
with me a
yeah.
whole lot.
No, yeah, I get because even though a lot of stories, something about it. I don't know if it's something about specifically to that story or a certain actor or just whatever. Just doesn't resonate with you. Again,
No,
this one, this episode is not. It's just average run in the mill Star Trek regular schmegular episode. It's not like a cliffhanger or a two-part or anything like that. But
no. And while I think where Star Trek TOS really they had a lot of good episodes in their first season, because I mean it's easy to say that, like, Voyager, DS9, TNG, they all struggled in their first season at least.
yeah,
I mean, come
it
on,
was a roller coaster because I mean, good episode,
Encounter
bad episode, good, bad. So it was like
Encounter at Farpoint was terrible. It was
true.
terrible.
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah.
But we do get some good ones, and just maybe I think it's just, especially with the uniforms, it's so we got two episodes where everyone's in the primary colors, the blue, the red, and the gold, and then we get thrown into this one. You're
hmm
like, whoa! It's almost like, where'd this retro episode come from? Like, if
Right.
Star Trek
And
wasn't retro enough, this is the retro episode of retro tech
it's
Trek.
like retro. It's like, whoa.
And then next week we're going to get thrown right back into the standard. Like, they only use these uniforms
It's essentially just that
this
one
one time,
episode. I mean, aside from
and the cage.
yeah, aside from that in the cage, and then maybe one or two officers like in a background or something
Right.
may have that
Hey,
thing, that
Bob the extra,
ugly
Bob the
shirt on.
extra, Bob the extras. He needs a uniform. Well, we don't have any left. Well, go grab one of those ugly
Uh,
turtlenex.
get a shirt. Get one
Yeah,
of the turtleneck shirts. It'd be
get one of
fine.
them turtlenecks.
Get one of those turtlenecks and put them in the back, and
Where are
it'll be
they? They're in the
fine.
garbage out back. Go get one.
That what size is it? He's a large. All we got is a double XL. That'd be fine.
So next week though, Indak is going to join us
It's
for an episode.
awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, he's going to be on here next week. So that will be the naked time, and that's
Ooh.
the weird disease where they touch their face like they all start freaking out.
Yeah.
Which that disease does come back and has an appearance in TNG too. So that does kind of have a because they
Yeah.
reference Kirk and the Enterprise dealing with this in that TNG episode. So that'll be
That's
interesting
the
too.
one thing that I always thought that was really cool with every Star Trek spinoff is that somehow they always try to tie in every series kind of somehow together,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be just like a cameo or something mentioned or, hey, this is our side of what happened in X storyline or, um, I just always thought that was just the coolest thing is that
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
not
they did
not
it in Discovery. I
yeah,
mean, Michael was Spock's sister,
yeah,
adopted sister, but still.
but still, yeah. If you're raised with Spock, I mean, hey,
Props to you,
that's all there
girl.
is
You
to it. Yeah.
you grew up on Vulcan? Dang, girl.
So you
You
stronger
got
than
some
me. I couldn't do it.
you got
Hey?
some cojones. It's too hot for me. It's way too hot for me. I'm sorry. And I'm someone who is chronically cold all the time. I mean, I don't have them on today because it's 70
Mhm.
degrees for once. Thank goodness. But I mean, like I have these little like fingerless mittens that I wear like all the time when I'm working
Yeah.
because I'm always freezing. I've usually got a cardigan on. I mean,
I
but
mean, not only that, I mean, you got to think of it like this. You are on a different planet altogether
yeah,
with a whole, yeah, not only with just
gravity's
the gravity,
stronger, the
not only,
heat.
yeah, the gravity, the heat, but think about just how Vulcans are in general.
Yeah. Well,
Now,
and we talked about it before how like Leonard, I think we did, like Leonard Nimoy, how did he deal with playing Spock emotionless all the time? And in interviews with Leonard Nimoy, he would say like driving to and from work, there would be days I would just break down crying because I was so used to not showing any emotion that it just bottled up. It bottled up after all these filming all these
mhm,
episodes,
I
and then I
believe
just
it.
it had to just explode out because I was too busy keeping it in.
Trying to, yeah, keeping everything in. So,
And then
yeah,
so
yeah, you just have to let it out. So I
so
get it.
I
I
can I
understand that, you know.
yeah
It just
so
seems like it was a little funny sometimes when Spock being so emotionless, every now and again he would just get just that flash of emotion. And it's just like,
well let's
oh, you
not
really like that, Spock?
let's color it the way it should be colored here. Spock has an ego. He has a
That is true.
superiority complex.
That is true.
He doesn't think he's better than other people. He knows he's better than other people. That's almost that.
Hmm.
I mean, that's borderline narcissistic right there.
Yeah,
Do I think he's bad in the narcissistic sense? No, no. Obviously, he's a good natured person. You
right.
know,
I mean, obviously, yeah, because what he does, obviously, he does everything to do everything right, and he does everything that he can possibly right.
and his
But that
character's
doesn't,
evolution is amazing from
yeah,
the original series all the way through his appearances
just,
in the Kelvin timeline.
yeah. And then still, you
But
and
he
and
got
throughout
an
still
ego.
all that, he still has that ego as a I know I'm better than you. That's
And last week in Charlie's episode, when Spock is playing the lyre and Uhura is singing, and Spock just got that smug look on his face, like, yeah, I got one of
it's
the
like,
hottest chicks, one of the hottest women on this ship singing for me while I'm playing. He's like, just
so just
super
like
smug.
you see, none of you have this. None of you.
None of you have
None of
this.
you got this.
Only the prepubescent child over here can,
So yeah, that
mess things up. But yeah, I'm glad to see the generic doctor go away. I don't know if he was the same guy from the cage or not. But
I don't think so. I
you
don't
don't think
remember seeing
so?
him.
Yeah, but generic doctor go. I need my McCoy back. I mean, McCoy is he's just
McCoy's the standard.
the trifecta. I mean,
Yeah,
you got the whole
McCoy. Yeah,
crew, but
yeah.
he's
You gotta have Spock.
Kirk,
You
and you
gotta
got to have
have
McCoy.
Kirk. You gotta have McCoy. And
Oh yeah.
then you gotta have Mr. Scott.
No, of course. I mean, and there's Sulu and Chekhov, and
And Sulu, Chekhov, all those. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I like Chekhov better in the movies than I just think he was just too much of a goofy kid and in the original series. I mean, but I would say that's just the irreverence that's paid to his character because I think that Andrew Yelchin or Antoine Ant
Anton. Anton
Anton
Yelchin.
Anton Yelchin.
Anton
Thank you.
Yelchin. That's it.
I thought that of all of the characters portrayals of the original crew in the Kelvin timeline, his and Scotty's were the two that were most like parodies. Like they were just too much
Yeah. Yeah, because
almost.
I mean Simon Pegg when as Scotty, it's not bad in the sense of the performance that he gave, because I mean he did give a good performance. He just didn't to me, he just didn't have the look of Scotty. Like he didn't
Yeah.
look like, he'd actually like if you don't look like you have PTSD from just waking up and just hearing and just hearing warp sounds and just hear warp core and just hear all that. Like if you don't look like you don't have like severe PTSD from just hearing rant, 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 like I don't know if you can help me. I don't know if you can
Yeah.
answer my question.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, and even in Anton Yelchin's defense, I mean, he was really just portraying the same caricature that Walter Koenig had to portray. That kind
Yeah,
of
it's
just
almost like
overzealous, childlike
yeah,
character.
it's almost like he was doing a Walter Koenig impression.
Or I don't believe that Simon Pegg really inspired me to believe that he was the miracle worker that Michael Doohan was.
Yeah,
Was it Michael Doohan?
Michael
Um,
Du is it Duhan or Dugan
I'm just is it the
or,
first name?
or Dukan?
Why?
I think you pronounce it Duhan or I think I think that's how you pronounce it.
Okay. James Doohan. It's Doohan. It's pronounced Doohan, but I think I'm gonna just double check. Doohan or Duhan, however you want to pronounce it. It doesn't say specifically, but I don't know why I thought Michael, but it's James. It was
Okay,
James. It was
James.
James. Yeah, because he's been gone. He's been gone a minute. He died in 2005, so almost 20 years ago, 19 years ago. Wow.
I bet the hardcore Star Trek nerds heard that. They said, "No, no." We said as soon as we said Mike said, "No, it's James. It's James. It's
I know,
James." Losing their
and and
mind just as they said.
and I knew these things. It's just when you're juggling so much stuff. But now I'm like all curious. So let's see. Nimoy died in 2015, so that was 9 years ago.
Right.
Uh, DeForest Kelly got he was the first one to go. Yeah, that's what I meant. When did he pass away? I'm curious. He died in 1999, so he's been gone 25 years. Wow,
Jeez.
25 years. Because his last appearance as McCoy was in Encounter at 5 Point. I don't see no ears on you, oh, no pointed ears on you, but you sound like a Vulcan.
Oh shit. Bones.
Don't see no pointed ears on you, boy.
I don't see no pointed ears. You don't look like a Vulcan, but you sound like one.
Yeah, so that was that was good. They didn't. I guess they did a few crossovers. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Generations. I thought Kirk's death was kind of weird, but I do love the episode with James Doohan doing when with the
Right.
the Dyson sphere, and
Yeah,
that was
now
that
that
was
was
a
a good episode.
that was a cool
I
episode.
did like that one. Yeah.
Can't wait till we get to
This
some of those. I mean, because right now we're just kind of struggling through some of the weaker episodes, and there's some good ones in TOS. I mean, just watching it on Pluto, um, God, there's so many episodes I can't wait to talk about. This one was like,
yeah.
well, we got to talk about it because we're
Well, I
going
mean,
in
we got to talk
order.
about because it's the pilot ish.
Second, third pilot, fourth, fourth, third,
No, probably the
78th pilot, something like
executives
that.
probably think is like, "Oh, yeah, how many pilots is this thing gonna have?
Yeah, exactly.
It's got more
Exactly.
pilots than Starfleet."
Right. And technically you could kind of consider Star Trek the Motion Picture as the third 79th pilot because, TOS got canceled through in the middle of season
Yeah,
six
and
or season three.
it was the movie that saved it.
It was the movie that brought it back, even though it's one of all the movies, it's one of the two
It's like
weakest
yeah,
of
which
all of them.
which is weird because it's like,
Although I'd rather watch
oh,
the motion
cool.
picture than the Final Frontier any day of the week. But God. Oh, that one will be ladies and gentlemen, and all those in between. When we get to Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, that will be a roast. It will not be a review. It will be a roast.
Mm,
Because
that may be some
sometimes,
that you know what that we may have to do that one also on TSWA. But then we've been on a hiatus on that one. We're trying to get going to do a watch party with what movie is that? New York Ninja.
oh no.
We're trying to arrange a whole watch party for that, so and do a charity thing for it.
Yeah,
And
and
so,
as I'm playing with some like recording software and stuff, which by the way, our audio episodes, I'm through the first 2.5 episodes.
right?
So should be getting those up soon, and I'll send you the link and post the link for our Spotify link. But I was sort of playing with the idea of like, how can we show clips or even maybe watch the episode with our
Yeah,
our our viewers while we're reviewing it live, you know? That's something I've been kind of toying with, just to kind of spruce things up a little. Give us a little bells and whistles, other than just,
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
I think that would be cool. I want anything to dress it up a little bit and just have some more fun with it. This is a labor of love. So, I want to
But
I
we don't
want to
mind if you toss us a few dollars here and there, Paramount. We don't mind if you toss us a
Star
few
Trek
dollars here and
Online.
there, Star Trek Online.
Pluto, I know you're free, but I mean, hey, I have mentioned you a few times today.
You know, wouldn't
And
be mine if we
well,
get like a care package, Pluto. You know,
yeah, yeah.
or even just a couple
My
dollars or something. Be
my
nice.
my Amazon wish list is in my TikTok profile. So is my Cash App. I don't know about Angry, but hey, you want
I got my Cash Apps in my profile.
we'll
Whatever's in my Amazon list, you put it in my dump it in my Cash App, I get it myself. I'm a
we are
little leery
not
about that. I'm a little leery about that. But you know what?
we are not too proud. Okay, we will do paid endorsements. We will sell out.
Said no, we have no we yeah, we are not shame. We have no shame like that.
No shame, no shame. No, we're just two simple people trying to make our way in the universe. Oh wait, wrong franchise again. Wrong
Oh,
franchise
wait,
again.
yep, yep. But
Oh,
we're not gonna turn down any dollars. Paramount, Paramount Plus, we're not gonna turn down any dollars.
Pluto, Star Trek Online, CBS, who owns Paramount. Any of you, we're here. And if you have
Yeah.
suggestions, we're willing to
So
listen.
we're open. We're open,
Doesn't mean we'll do it, but we're willing to listen.
Yeah, we're open to suggestions, you know. We're open to it. I mean, that doesn't mean we'll do them, but we're open to it.
Absolutely. And I want to be clear too, as I do often reference other franchises. The second rule of Nerdquisition is that one must speak in nerd terminology. And if that includes cross franchise, yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
It cross franchise speak. It happens.
Right.
Sometimes it happens.
What's that? What was that? There was that meme that went around a few years ago. It had like a picture of Jean-Luc Picard and it said, "May the force be with you" in quotes, and then it said
Yeah.
Gandalf underneath it. You know? Uh,
Oh yeah. So
Sometimes there are so many franchises that my brain just mixes them up. It's like Yahtzee dice. My franchises are in a little cup, and you just shake it up and throw them on the table, and you get what you get.
sometimes it's like, oh wait, no, that's the wrong one.
Right. But with that, next week, ladies, gentlemen, and all those in between, the naked time with guest Indak, who was one of the original people to help conceive this podcast, but life situations get in the way. But we're going to have him on next week. We're super excited about that. And
And Dak.
that
Yes.
that is all I can tell you to expect because when I sit down with Angry and we hit record, we don't know what to expect. It just happens. It just happens. So again, infinite combination, infinite diversity and infinite combinations. That is the Star Trek motto, IDIC or idiocy. However you want.
And
And with
there's no bigger idiocy than this guy right here.
both of us. Hi. And with that, us idiots are signing off for the week. We'll catch you next time. Live long and prosper.